I have already tried to record this video and it wasn't easy, so I'm going to try again. Hopefully this time it's going to work. As you may have noticed, I'm not editing the videos because it takes too long. But when the video doesn't come out right, because I make a mistake or whatever, I have to record it again. So here it is. This video is about the map of life, and it is an immensely valuable subject. It can really give you a map for your whole journey in the spiritual life and also in your psychological evolution. So this map is very practical. It's not a philosophy. It is something that is, we could say, it's like a natural philosophy embedded in your astral spine. Not the physical spine, but the energy astral spine in your astral body. What is the astral body? The astral body is a body made of energy or light that is inside your physical body at this time when you are incarnated on earth. And when the body dies, then the energy body, which if you know about science says that the energy is never destroyed. Well, the same is valid for spirituality. The astral body leaves the physical body and you go back to the astral world, which is quite better than this. At least that's what we are told. Now, what this has to do with Advaita? Well, it has a lot to do with Advaita, because in Advaita you are trying to wake up to your true nature. See clearly what is your true nature and what isn't. But I have been doing this job of helping people to wake up for more than 10 years. And I can assure you that if we have issues that are unresolved in the lower centers, the lower chakras, in the astral spine, that's an obstacle for you to wake up. So the purpose of giving you this map of life is that you can make an assessment where are, in your experience during this incarnation, where you still have pending aspects in the lower centers, so that you can go on solving them, and that will help you and prepare you for awakening. You may say, well, Advaita is just about awakening and then embodying the awakening. Yes, but if we have pending issues in the lower centers, that will prevent you to wake up or will make it more difficult. More difficult doesn't mean that it cannot happen. You can wake up even if there are issues in the basic challenges of life. However, if you solve those problems, awakening is much more likely to happen. On the other hand, if you have a very strong devotion for awakening, if you really want it, if you really have the desire, an intense desire to wake up, despite pending issues, you may experience awakening. Yes, that is true. However, after awakening, you will have to work on the pending issues in the lower centers. So, in the first center at the coccyx, the motivation that we have there is to survive, is physical survival. And if you watch videos about survival, which the individuals that produce these videos are called survivalists, and they are passionate about this aspect of life, they will tell you that you need to take care of the basics. And what are the basics if you are surviving in the jungle? Well, you need shelter first, right? And then water and food. So shelter means in a civilization, living in a civilization, it means to have a house. It means to have a refuge where you can be at peace, where you can be have privacy, and that's part of the drive in the first century. That's why they need to have a house is a very fundamental need, but it doesn't stop there. Of course, we need to provide food for the organism, good quality food, water, and so on. Physical exercise. In this center also we are concerned about the health of the mind, body, organism, the physical health. So physical exercise and nutrition are absolutely fundamental at that level. Now, the chakras have a luminous side and also a dark side. What is the dark side in the first chakra? The dark side is two options. First, excesses. When making money, which is the vehicle in a civilization like the one we live, is the vehicle through which the elements that you need to survive come to you. So we can transform money in a goal that is overly valued and turn money into our philosophy of life. I want to make money and make more money and make more money. That's called greed, right? In spirituality. And the result of such philosophy is an imbalance, because what you want to attain or what you want to do is to address all the motivations or drives in each of the chakras in a balanced way. And if you go over the board with the first one, you have a sense of safety that requires you to make millions or billions of dollars. Well, that is an imbalance. Your life will be imbalanced. You will be neglecting other aspects that are equally relevant or more. So that's a dark side of the first chakra. And there is another one that is more common in spiritual people, which is neglect. You neglect this aspect because you read in a book that you don't need money, that you don't need material things, and then you live a life that is very restricted in this aspect. And that, of course, creates disease and sickness in the body and in the mind, imbalances in the mind, because you're not giving to survival its right place. So there are therefore two ways in which you can go astray in regard to the first center. Let's move to the second chakra. In the second chakra, the fundamental drive is for enjoyment. You see this in animals. When animals have taken care of the basics, they have eaten, they are well fed, then they tend to play. They tend to have fun, they tend to relax. And that's what the second chakra gives us, is the enjoyment of the pleasures of the senses, the attitude, a playful attitude in life. It's beautiful. It gives us a cheerfulness. We feel happy if we address this issue properly. But same as with the first one, in the second center, you can go over the board, and we all know where that leads, right? It leads to addiction because of excesses in enjoyment of the senses, and it also creates great attachment to the sensory experience. And then the philosophy of life that is overly centered around the second chakra is called hedonism, where pleasure becomes the purpose of life, and that leads often to disease in the body. And additionally, of course, it leads to imbalances in the chakras, and you may never even explore the higher potentials that are in the upper chakras. We need to understand that there is nothing wrong with enjoying the sensual experiences. The senses is natural, is beautiful, is positive. The excesses are the problem, yeah, and I would suggest that you explore with the ChatGPT the difference between these two words, liberalism versus libertinism. Yeah, they're two very different things, and today in our civilization there is a confusion about these two terms, and that confusion has led a lot of people into serious problems. So that is concerning the second chakra. Let's go to the third one. In the third center, the drive is to create a likable personality, a persona that you like, first of all, you like, and ideally that will be somewhat likable to other people. You want to develop there a good self-concept. At the basis of our persona is our self-concept, the concepts, the ideas that you have or identifications that you have about yourself. They start with the words I am and then something. Like I am a body, that's an identification, a false one, right? But it is an identification. I am the body, I am the mind. I am so and so. I am, if you are an engineer, I am an engineer. Or I am an explorer, whatever. All this I am this, I am that constitute your self-concept. And the self-concepts can be positive or negative. If you have negative ideas about yourself, like I am a failure, or I am not good, I'm not a bad person, all these negative ideas about yourself, they have to go. You got to find ways to heal your self-concept. When the self-concept is positive, when you have discarded the negative ideas about yourself that perhaps you heard when you were a child, voices around that told you negative things about you and you introjected them, when you heal all that, then you begin to attain something that is very valuable, and we all know it in psychology, right? Which is a good self-esteem. Now, a good self-esteem is a positive thing, but at the same time, it is limited. It's not just about attaining self-esteem. Eventually you will have to let go of that in order to attain identification with pure consciousness. However, in order to get there, first to have a positive self-concept and a positive self-esteem resulting from a positive self-concept is necessary. Yeah. So that will facilitate you to attain awakening. Another shadow aspect of the third center is when you go over the board with self-esteem, and then you create an inflated self-esteem. You have ideas about yourself that are completely irrational, that you are extraordinary and magnificent, and that's what we call narcissism, right? Narcissism is also a shadow aspect of the third center. In a way, narcissism, we could say, is less damaging than a poor self-esteem, a dark self-concept, but still it's problematic. So, and it can be an obstacle for you to wake up. So you need to attain good self-esteem, but not an inflated self-esteem. In the third center. In the fourth center is the drive for love. And of course, there are two aspects to love. One is human and one is divine. This center, in fact, has to do with both. It has an aspect that is human and an aspect that is divine, the heart center. The lower centers are completely human. Yeah, that doesn't mean bad. It means that they are human and they need to be in the right place. In the fourth center, you want to develop both a healthy human aspect of the heart center, as well as an evolved and healthy divine aspect of the heart center. In the human is the drive for romance, the drive for good interpersonal relationships, for having a rich family life, having friends, having a healthy social life, etc. Very valuable. But the highest aspect of the fourth center is even more valuable. It is learning to love unconditionally. And that takes time, of course, but unconditional love for everything, for animals, for plants, for human beings, for your friends, for your family, for your partner. This unconditional love generate a feeling that we can identify very clearly, and it's a very healing feeling. It is a very beautiful feeling too, because when you experience unconditional love, you, as a result of it, you experience joy, and joy is a divine feeling also. A drop of love, Yogananda used to say, a drop of unconditional love, just a drop, will make you feel so much joy. So cultivating unconditional love in the fourth center and experiencing the divine joy is wonderful, is healthy, it's something worthwhile to pursue, and it's a drive that is natural to you already. It's already there as a drive. We just need to give it a course of to express itself in your life. The shadow aspect of the fourth center is the opposite of love, is when you have anger, hate, resentment towards parents, friends, relatives, or business partners that betray you, or who knows what. Yeah, all those resentments and angers, they need to go, so that you purify your heart's center. And I have taught in the previous videos the surrendering technique. If you use the surrendering technique, the way to do it is you notice when this anger is arising and you surrender it to the divine. You don't try to heal it yourself, you just surrender it to consciousness, and the divine does the job, because you are consenting, you are using free will to request to consciousness the resolution of something pending with somebody, right? So that's a negative aspect in the fourth center. There is a lot of people in this planet that are they have a broken heart, so to speak. Their heart is loaded with negative feelings, and it's very difficult to wake up if that is the case. You need to do some cleansing, some healing, using the surrendering technique or other methods. You can use observation. Advaita teachers teach today use observation, meaning watch that feeling arising, do not judge, just watch, and it will dissolve gradually. I would say that the surrendering technique, first of all, it requires you to first watch or see that feeling arising also, but then you immediately do the surrendering technique to release it. Then we move to the fifth center. The fifth center is the drive for love in action. Love in action is your drive for creativity and for service to others. Creativity that is oriented towards serving humanity, serving others, giving the best of yourself through the creativity that comes from this center. This center is called the seat of the soul. The soul is really interested in expressing its love in action. And what is the soul? The soul is pure consciousness identified with the astral body, with the energy body. As pure consciousness identifies itself with the human body, so it identifies itself with the astral body. When the pure consciousness identifies with the human body, it concludes wrongly, but it concludes that, oh, I am a human being. And when it identifies with the astral body, it concludes also erroneously, oh, I am a soul. The truth is, you are not a human being, neither you are a soul. You are pure consciousness, and that is awakening. Awakening is when you see, you notice that this is true. Yeah, that actually you are pure consciousness. But to come to awakening, you need to also have a fifth center that is somewhat functional and open. So you have at that level to find what is your vocation. The vocation is the specialty of the soul. The vocation does not belong to the human being. It belongs to the astral being, to your soul. You come with a vocation. You don't create here a vocation. Your job here as a human is to discover your vocation, the specialty of your soul, and then when you discover it, to follow it, to put that into motion and to create around that specialty, create something that is helpful to others. So this center has a lot to do with service, right? You want to serve humanity through your greatest skill, the specialty of your soul. If you haven't found your vocation, if you perhaps because you are too young, it has happened to me with students that wanted to wake up, but they were too young, and they haven't solved this basic issue. They haven't found their vocation in life. So it's better to solve that problem first. You find your vocation and you pursue it. It will give you great happiness anyway, even if it's not the ultimate happiness. You can derive a lot of happiness by discovering your vocation and follow it. The difference between living a life aligned with your vocation or specialty of the soul and living a life disconnected from it, doing 8 hours a day a job that you don't like, the difference in terms of happiness is so immense, right? That it's in a way it's an awakening, but it's an awakening to your soul here at this level. So next one. And what is the shadow aspect of this level? Well, the shadow aspect is when creativity becomes twisted towards the negative and is used to hurt, to manipulate, to use your creativity to produce things that destroy, to produce chaos. That is the dark aspect of the fifth center. And of course, all the dark aspects, they need to be avoided. They need to be solved and removed so that all your lower chakras are open, clear, functional, and they allow the energy to go up to this center. In this center, your drive is for awakening, to find the truth about life. What is the meaning of all this? What are we doing here? What is the purpose of life? And what am I really? Yeah, not what I have been told, like you're a human being and you're so and so. All those are concepts, ideas, it's not your true nature. So here the drive for awakening happens in the center. And there is also a shadow aspect to the center, and it consists of intellectualism. When you try to solve these riddles of life, the meaning of life, through a philosophy that is based on intellectual ideas, and you try to box yourself into those ideologies, and ideologies are dark. They have created through history tremendous suffering to humanity, and this continues. Still we are seeing ideologies arising, people that with their intellect that are creating false philosophies expressed with a set of ideas that are crooked. They don't have much truth, and they create suffering in humanity and in the people that are following those philosophies, those ideologies. So that's the dark side of this center. If this center is powerful and it wants awakening, the drive for awakening is strong, that leads to awakening, that drive, that desire for awakening. If the drive for awakening is very, very strong, you can even have a lot of imperfections in the lower centers and still you will wake up. It is true. That strong drive is called devotion in spirituality, and it's a powerful thing. It's something that I have recommended in previous videos. Cultivate devotion for awakening, the desire for awakening. Why? Because then you can, even if there are imperfections in your lower centers, you will wake up. The awakening will give you many advantages for what remains in the spiritual life, because now with this open, you can begin to fix what is down below, and you will have to do it. the problems that are in the lower centers still after awakening will need to be addressed. So why not addressing them before? Of course, if it's possible, right? So the awakening brings you a lot of freedom and happiness, and life transpires much easier. You feel more connected to the divine. It is wonderful, but you after awakening you need to continue to the embodiment process. If you just stay with awakening, awakening will not impact your life the way it should. It will give you it will be somewhat helpful, but not enough. Yeah. So the ideas of the Neo-Advaita is about, okay, you just wake up, and because you are the divine, now you know it, forget about the rest. It's a false ideology again. It's not true. You need to continue after awakening, cleaning the mess that's down below, the things that are pending, and go to the next step, which is, we will see here in the final seventh center of consciousness, or chakra. So in the seventh center, we are looking for love again, but it's a love that is expressed as union with what? With everything, right? Union with creation, union with consciousness, a complete union where nothing is separated, where even the universe and consciousness and what we see as parts are just one block. No parts anymore. The experience of oneness reveals to you that there are no parts, that the parts that you see are actually created by the language. So in order for you to separate the microphone and the plant, you have to name them. You have to give them a name, consciously or unconsciously. This is the microphone, this is the plant, therefore they are two different things. Actually, it's not true. The microphone and the plant are one. What are they? The universe. This is the universe, this is the universe, this body is the universe, everything is the universe. It's just one block, one thing. And the universe is something that is unfolding. It's conscious, completely conscious, and it's unfolding. It's one block that is unfolding and has no parts. That is the oneness that you want to experience, the ultimate Advaita in the seventh center. So there it is. That's the map of life. And if you have this clear, then you will not need philosophies, ideologies, and even the spiritual path becomes so clear, so transparent. It's very clear what I need to do, right? Use it to introspect and see where are you, how are you doing in each one of these centers. Then if you are interested in working in coaching sessions to address issues in the lower centers before awakening, is a good idea? Yes, it is a good idea, because it will prepare you for awakening. And if you are interested in working with me, and of course there are many other coaches, psychologists, and so on that can help you. But if you are interested in working with me, I leave you at the end of the description of the video my email. Write to me, and let's talk about how I can help you. If you feel after watching this video that you are kind of ready for awakening, that you have solved to some degree these challenges, then check the Awakening Protocol. I leave you down below, also at the end of the description of the video, a link to the Awakening Protocol. Have a look. If it's something that interests you, contact me to the same email. If you have already awakened and you have clarity now of what you are really and what you are not, then you, as I said, you need to go for work in the embodiment process. The embodiment process is not trivial. You are after awakening, you are kind of in an unknown territory, and it's tricky. And therefore, for example, in the case of this mind-body system, let's call it me. In my case, I was. I worked with the teacher that helped me to wake up for 3 years doing embodiment. Was it helpful? Yes, it was. Of course it was. I'm not saying that you work for 3 years doing coaching sessions, or maybe yes, but you will benefit by doing at least some coaching work. And then I recommend that you read the description of the video after you finish this video, because I'm putting a lot of effort into making a description that will reinforce what you are listening to in this video. Have a moment to read that description. It's short, to the point, and it will help you to reinforce what you have already heard. And finally, please, if you like this material, if this was helpful to you, click a like, and perhaps if you're in a position that you can also share this video, you may consider sharing it and subscribing to the channel, so that the algorithm will send you the next videos. I'm recording one video per week approximately. So that's it. I hope this helps you, and looking forward to hear from you. Take care. Bye.